I am going to attempt to do a live demo set up from home, and hopefully everybody is able to see what I'm doing. What I had set up for you was the oil pastels in the Ziploc baggies. These are just an example of oil pastels and an oil pastel technique sheet that kind of goes along with it too. So we're just going to go over a couple of these. This is not a big assignment. I just want you to start getting the feel of how oil pastels work. And just kind of a couple things to have handy is just a few sheets of paper towel. This works really well for wrapping around your finger and blending out some of the colors. And then you could have something, whether it's a pencil, a paper clip, or in this case, just a nail file, just to add in some textury marks later on when we go into the sgraffito area. So the back side of this sheet does give you examples. This is in black and white, but it takes you through all of the steps too and what you're going to do in the squares on the other side. So in general, just working on this from at home, it's always good to have a newspaper underneath just to catch any oil pastel flakes. Try the layering techniques for endless possibilities, things you can bring in for your winter animal drawing, and keeping a small rag or paper towel handy to wipe off any dirty or stained oil pastels because they do get contaminated with other colors too. So I'm just going to flip this sheet over. And on this first panel right here for heavy pressure, I'm going to do it where you can see it. I am just going to choose one of the oil pastels from this little kit here. It really doesn't matter what color you want. I'm just going to grab the pink one here. And for the heavy pressure, you want to generously add pastels in one direction on the paper, or you could go ahead and layer colors to kind of get that blended look to it. So I'm just going to go medium pressure. And you can see it's rich, velvety colors. Going to make sure you can see that. So it's really not a ton of pressure, but you will start to see where the oils pull up on one another and you get these small little flakes. In the end, the best thing to do when you have those is you would take your paper, roll it up, and kind of tap it into the trash can to get those off. If you smear it, it's just going to blend colors into other areas. So you will see that happening with medium pressure. So I'm just going to finish up here. I shouldn't see any paper white shining through, and I think I'm going to go ahead and grab maybe a purple one just to show you what that layered colored look. So you can go right over the top of the other and just layer the two colors down. I'm going to go a little heavier with the purple here. And then I'm going to turn my paper so you can see it. Grabbing my paper towel, I'm just going to drag, I think I might do it this way. So you can see it. Drag some of that purple into the pink and getting a blended effect. So with the oil pastels, it's kind of a nice hybrid of, you get the control of drawing and yet blending like you would with paints. So that would be your heavy pressure area. Now you're going to fill the square all the way from the left to the right. If you want to use 1, 2, 3 different colors, that is up to you, but heavy pressure with the oils. The next square here, we've got light pressure. So lightly add pastel in one direction on the paper. Again, you can layer colors to have a different type of effect. So just to lightly add it. So I'm going to go as light as I possibly can, not really fully covering that paper up. And this would be your light pressure. This works really well for the insides of eyes, especially with the winter animals, maybe some winter coats. And that gives you the opportunity to take another color, I think I might just grab the red, and layer up over the top of it. And as the oils warm up with the friction of the paper or the friction of the oil pastel, they do start doing a little bit of blending on their own, so you can create some more sort of shapes inside of it. Now, if I want to go a little bit darker to push that depth, I can then continue layering. And this would be considered a warm purple where you've got more of that red into it. Turning my paper so my hand doesn't drag through the oils. And I'm just doing light pressure, layering that up. So that would be the light pressure area. For color mixing or color blending, that's this square over here. It's really similar to what we've done in this upper square. You're going to be applying a layer of oil pastel and follow with a contrasting color over the top of it for color blending. So let's see, I might grab, I don't know, maybe I'll do purple and yellow, and that would give you an opportunity to see what happens to the yellow oil pastel too. So here we just want to be able to blend the two colors together. So I'm going to do a color swatch. Now you would spend a lot more time working this all the way up to the corners. But I'm trying to keep this demo pretty short since you'll be watching this at home. Now in this one you can see all the different flakes that are starting to happen. And then on the other side, bringing in my pure yellow. Hasn't been in contact with another oil pastel yet. And as I bring it into the purple, you can see it's starting to blend. And you will see on the oil pastel, it starts picking up some of that purple. And since these are complementary colors, it is going to make it more of a muddy color where it comes together. And then again, just that friction of heating that oil pastel up is going to start blending it. I could also take my paper towel and blend those together a little further. Now, if you start seeing any kind of patching areas or patchy areas in that square, it means you're pushing too hard with the paper towel itself. Okay. So that's that one. And then moving on to the stippling square, you're going to use small choppy strokes to create a stippled effect on the paper, layering with additional colors for depth. So maybe I'll grab two other colors out. Maybe I'll go with red and green. So short, choppy colors. This works really, really nicely if you're doing anything as far as fur texture. So I'm just going to quickly just draw out the basics of an apple starting here. And I gave myself some color contour lines so I know where I want to switch over to the next color. So just again, short, choppy little lines. Not really filling it with too much pressure. And I am leaving myself just some smaller little areas of the white just to kind of help get that depth going. You will get some on your hands. It's not a big deal. It'll wash off later on. And now I'm going to do some color layering, and I'm just going to pop in some greens, especially into those white chunks that I left. And maybe blend some colors into here. I'm just going to go up. Again, short, choppy motions. Okay, so short, choppy, all the way up and over. Now, I could end it here with just the two colors, but I think I'm going to go in and maybe get a little bit of purple going too, just so I can get some natural shading. Again, I'm still doing this with short, choppy colors. And this time I'm only going to take it to one side. And maybe a little bit into where that apple kind of dips down and into the rest. And then maybe just to finish it off, grabbing a little bit of the brown. Now you could do any shape that you wanted to. We're just practicing that stippling sort of effect, but it does some cool kind of effects. Just grabbing maybe a little bit more of that purple where I could go in and do just a little bit of a drop shadow coming off to the one side here. And as I'm working the oils in, you do see it just naturally blending together. So that would just be a small little stippling demo for Sgraffito. Over here, I do have a lot of students that like to use this one, especially when it comes to fur around the snout or around the ears of an animal. So I think I'm just going to stick with a few colors. I'm just going to grab brown and white. Again, you can choose whatever colors you have handy. I know the Ziploc baggie, I just kind of dumped in some different colors, so you can use whatever you've got. So for this one, I want to do a layer, and I actually want to do 2 or 3 thick layers of different colors on top of the paper. I think I'm going to start with the red, just a nice thick coating here. So medium pressure, just moving that oil up and around. Trying to cover as much of that paper white as possible. But if I miss an area, it's not a big deal. I'm going in with some other colors too. And then I might bring that brown right over the top of it. And here, when you're layering the colors, you are going to get a lot of the oils pulling back on itself, and that's fine. Again, you're just going to take it over to the trash can and just tap that off. Let me just check online here. Okay, good. And then over the top, I'm just going to take in some of that white. And this really just works as that final blending color. Now, if you have oils that are a big chunk that breaks off, you know, sometimes I just go in there with my finger, grab it up, and bring it right over to the rest. And try to use up the oils. So I'm just going to continue working with the white right over the top. And that does lighten it up quite a bit. Wipe my hand off here. And then at this point for Sgraffito, you can go ahead and use anything you've got handy. Like I said, a paper clip, a wooden stylus, or anything kind of got a sharp edge to it. And you're going to actually remove some of that oil pastel from the top to show the colors that are underneath. Hopefully this shows up on camera well. But I think I might just turn my paper and I'm just going to scratch into it. So it's just taking a little bit of that layer off. I wonder if I can even do it the long way so you can really see it. So here's just bigger chunks kind of scratching up and off. Then with the extra oils, you're just going to take your paper towel and just wipe it off. Just like that. Now, if you, like I said, if you have any chunks of oils, don't wipe it off with your hands because your hands are going to heat up those oils, causing it to melt, and it's just going to spread possibly in an area that you don't want it to. Okay, the next little section that we've got is this scumbling section. And scumbling is very simple, kind of like what we did with our drawing unit. You're going to apply controlled scribble marks from the oil pastel to build up value and texture. So I could do something similar to what I've got going on here with the apple. So maybe I'm just going to grab the white and the red. And I usually do like to have something that's going to give it a little bit of a pop of color for shadow and highlight. And we're just going to do a little bit of scumbling. So maybe I'll do the same type of shape. Just kind of give it that apple-y shape. Now, as I'm drawing it, I think I might do more of a pumpkin shape. So I'm just reshaping this a little bit. And if I go over the top as I'm doing this one, I think I might make this stem come in a little bit more, and I might reshape the bottom. One of the nice things with oils is you can just layer right over the top of it, very similar to acrylic paints. So very basic shape, and I might switch out some of my colors here to go more of that pumpkin-y feeling. And then I'm going to turn my paper and in control kind of scribbling marks, just adding in a base layer. And I'm kind of working where I imagine the sections of the pumpkin to be. I'm just imagining that we've got smaller little sections here. Again, controlled scribbles. Just getting down a base layer. And I do leave a couple little areas open for myself to fill in with highlights. So here I did have purple showing up on the oil pastel, so I'm just going to take this and clean it off. And now I'm going to go in again with that scumbling motion. And I'm just giving each one of those little segments its own kind of highlight area. And I'm going to blend some of that red in with the yellow and get a bit more depth. Down at the bottom, I think I'm going to do the same. Give it more of a shape. And here I might go in to push the center of those segments. Again, same kind of motion, just that scumbling. So it's not actual contour lines. And I'm just going in with my red here. All right, so I'm getting more of that pumpkin-y feel to it. I still have a couple areas that are open just with white paper. Might go in again with my yellow and just do a pure yellow in a few little sections. Blend that right up. Something like that, where we're getting more of the shape. And then to finish it, I might go in with a green and just get that stem. Now I'm working right over the top of that red. It doesn't bother me one bit. I like to layer and get some different shapes going on with the oils, and I might even just add in a bit of a leaf here, or I could take some tendrils, some vine tendrils, and kind of swing those out. I'm just kind of playing with it right now. But that would be the basic for the pumpkin. Now, if I even wanted to bring in just a tiny bit of that green, maybe the pumpkin isn't fully ready for the season, and I'm just bringing some of that green in, and the green and red, because they're complementary, are actually going to turn more into kind of a brown shade and make things sort of start popping forward. There we go. Okay, so that might be just some scumbling again, just so you can see that all I did was just small little controlled scribble lines like that over here. All right, now the last one I am going to leave blank because not everybody has baby oil at home, but if you have a small bottle of baby oil, because these are oil-based pastels, you could take a Q-tip, a cotton swab, and blend, similar to what we do over here as we're heating up the colors, and blend the oils together that way. But that one, when we come back into the classroom, we can talk more about that option too. It works really, really nice, again, for just the soft inner parts of irises on your animals. I'm just going to play and just kind of give this one a little bit of ground area that it's sitting on. I should do a little bit of that scumbling and just give it that kind of feeling here. There we go. But that's basically what you're going to be doing with the oil pastels. Again, you're going to spend a lot more time working on this to develop it further, but I really just want you to start getting a feeling of the oil pastels themselves. I'm going to stop sharing the recording right now. There we go.